Every magic trick consists of 3 parts. The first part is called the pledge. The magician shows you something ordinary. A deck of cards, a bird, or a man. He shows you this object. Perhaps he asks you to inspect it, to see if it is indeed real. You know, normal. But it probably isn't. The second act is called the turn. The magician takes the ordinary something and makes it do something extraordinary. Now, you're looking for the secret, but you won't find it. Because of course, you're not really looking. You don't really want to know. You want to be fooled. But you wouldn't clap yet. Because making something disappear isn't enough. You have to bring it back. That's why every magic trick has a third act. The hardest part. The part we call the podcast. I'm Michael Caine.
Not too bad.
And I approve this message.
Not too bad.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
You can't handle the truth. King Kong ain't got shit on me. I am the third revelation.
I am so much crazier than you.
I am the one who knocks.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Best thing, big boy, huh? That's Brock.
Everybody on? Good. Great. Grand. Wonderful.
Are you listening closely? Because this is Facing Off. I am your co-host, Nick, and this is my transported man, Gabe. Facing Off is a podcast in which we rate, review, compare, and contrast 2 movies that share some common thread. Or is it?
I am the Great Danton.
Welcome, everybody.
Man.
Today's movies are The Prestige versus The Illusionist. Hi, Gabe. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you? Did you have a good weekend?
I did.
What did you do?
Did I?
Or did you?
That's what we're going to do the whole time. Or
Abracadabra.
is it?
Or would I?
I had a good weekend, man. Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, I had a great weekend. It was fun. I did a hike to a Nazi compound, an abandoned Nazi compound, and I pissed on their shit,
yeah.
dude. Yeah, man. And then Nick and I on Sunday saw just a tremendous Polish film at a little art theater. We followed a bunch of old people who had just seen at 9:30 in the morning The Invisible Man. And so we saw Corpus Christi. If you get a chance to see Corpus Christi, you should. It is incredible.
Yeah, one of the best endings to a movie ever.
Yeah, possibly the best. Yeah. Cool. Nick, before we get into it, let's say first of all that we're going to spoil these movies.
Oh yeah, and it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal with these 2 movies. So if you haven't seen The Illusionist and you haven't seen The Prestige, stop it now. Do you have any shout outs?
What do you think?
Talk about Julie's friend.
Oh yeah, Janice.
Janice, what's up, dude?
Yeah, I found out that
we went to your wedding and
that
shit.
You
had a llama there.
Our friend Janice listens to every podcast. That'd be weird.
Yeah.
She listens to every one of our podcasts. She's a big fan. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I
thank
didn't
you,
know
Janice.
I walked into my own apartment and was called a celebrity, and I was like, "What?" And
You
I
are
was
a
like,
celebrity.
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
I am dope.
Yeah, you're pretty dope. You
Thanks,
that
man.
boy.
You too are that boy.
Thanks. I am.
Good.
I will give a
Or
shout out
are
to I'll give a shout out to Bobby, one of Smoley's friends. It was just your birthday and you're a big fan of this podcast, so this goes out to you. Also, a shout out to Clay. Thank you for listening to every episode, Clay, and listening so closely that you needed to proceed to insult me for messing up on MacGruber quotes. So thank you for listening very carefully, Clay. We love you. And lastly, shout out to Polish films and foreign films in general, dude.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Nick, hit us with Hit us with the
synopsis?
synopsis.
Okay, so like I
Sis.
said, today's two movies involve magicians, or do they? And these are the synopses,
Yeah,
or
it's gonna
are
get
they?
old really fast.
Or is it? The Prestige is the tale of the rivalry of two 1800s magicians, Robert Angier and Alfred Borden, as they attempt to create the ultimate version of the transported man, a magic trick in which a man is transported. Obviously, Borden takes the long road, crafting a life in which he and his twin split time, love, and sacrifice, and also fingers. Angier takes a more literal route by utilizing a machine created by Nikola Tesla, a wizard, that replicates his very being night after night. When Borden stumbles upon the drowning Angier under the stage, he's framed for the death of the magician. As one Borden hangs for the crime, the other discovers that Angier has killed his replicant night after night, a sacrifice to maintain the incredible trick's integrity. In a stunning turn, the remaining Borden kills the final Angier and regains custody of his daughter. Abracadabra, bitches.
Straight up. Oh!
Was that a pretty good synopsis? You said it couldn't be done.
Bam! Bam! Yeah, that was great.
You said it couldn't be done?
Said it couldn't be done. I'll do it.
The Illusionist, on the other hand, is the story of Eisenheim, the Austrian illusionist, who meets back up with his childhood sweetheart, Sophie, the Duchess of something or whatever. Unfortunately, Sophie is of a much higher
Factual.
social class, and Eisenheim is a dirty but famous magician. Sophie and Eisenheim rekindle their
He's
affair.
actually an illusionist.
Yeah, whatever. Sophie and Eisenheim rekindle their affair, much to the chagrin of the Crown Prince Leopold of Austria, a drunk, woman-beating jagaloon who is planning a coup against his father, who's the king, because he's a prince. When the Crown Prince appears to drunkenly kill Sophie, Chief Inspector Walter arrests some random guy instead. However, the suspicion is there, and Eisenheim is pissed. He vanishes for a while and returns as an apparent necromancer. He appears to bring back Sophie one night, who, while Leopold is in the audience, claims that her killer is in the audience. Then Leopold kills himself.
Because everyone's dumb.
Walter tries to arrest Eisenheim at the next show, but he is also an illusion. Everyone is an illusion. Walter finds out later that Eisenheim and Sophie staged Sophie's death. They live happily ever after. Or do they?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. Yeah, we're doing these two movies. They both came out in 2006. There were 3 magic movies that came out in 2006, 2 of which starred huge jacked man and Scarlett Johansson. 2 movies about magic came out in 2006, starring Hugh Jackman and Scarlett Johansson. Fuck you,
The Greatest Showman came out in
Hollywood.
2006?
No,
Who is The Greatest Showman? Is it Robert Angier or Alfred
Or is
Borden?
it
or
Alfred
is it
Borden?
Eisenheim the Illusionist?
it could be Porque no los tres.
Wait, what's the second
And the other one
movie?
is called Scoop.
That's a movie with
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman and Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah, I watched this on YouTube. I rented it on YouTube, and
Why didn't we do that one?
because it's not good. And the thing was, the reason why we wanted to do these is because at the time, these were both pretty well celebrated movies.
Yeah. Apparently they both
And
are.
a lot of people confuse them. I think when I was a kid, when I first watched, I confused them. Probably because of my mom, who wrongfully thought that The Illusionist is in any way comparable in quality to The Prestige. But we're not going to spoil that for you. Let's just
This
let's
is good.
just get into it, man.
All right. Our
do
scale
yeah.
is 1 to 7. 1 is bad, 4 is middle, 7 is good.
Yeah, it's actually wonderful. 7 is the best.
Beans are good.
Beans are
Beef
good.
is good.
Jam
Good. And what else do we do, Gabe?
We are also going to break it down based on 5 categories. This week, we are doing actoring, eye candy, spectacularity, true detective, and legacy. Let us kick it off this time with actoring. Nick, why don't you start with The Prestige?
You said this time as if that's not the category we always lead
No,
off
it's
with.
been spectacularity sometimes.
When?
Nick, just start.
Tell
okay?
me when. Okay, so
Avada Kedavra! That's different.
oh dude, every time I think about abracadabra, the phrase, I think of the Pokemon. Abra.
Oh, interesting.
And then it
Every
evolves
single time-
into Kadabra, and then it evolves into Alakazam.
I think
all together, it's Abracadabra, Alakazam.
Yeah, it's pretty clever.
What did
Japanese
you give,
people make really
Okay.
clever names for their fake creatures in their video games.
And a sweeping over generalization to begin the.
Actually, that was a really specific thing.
Okay. Back to the thing we were talking about. The Prestige is one of my favorite movies ever. It's actually number 2 after all of the Back to the
Number
Futures
11 for me.
combined.
All
Okay.
time. I'm a crazy person, though, so that's very high.
It's largely because the first time I watched it and just how I felt after, but whatever.
I get it.
But I wanted to rate it fairly. So I gave it a 6 and not a 7. Because to me that seems more fair.
Yeah.
And that's because David Bowie and Scarlett Johansson, who are both really important people in this movie, are only okay. They're only okay. Their acting isn't
David Bowie is a saint.
true.
May him rest in peace. Shut your mouth.
But
No, I'm kidding.
It's not the actors, really. I just think that both of those characters aren't super duper well written.
Yeah.
And that's a low point for me, so I gave it a 6. Like they just don't have the same weight.
I'm right there with you on Scarlett Johansson.
Everyone else does.
Yeah.
Except for them.
No, I totally agree with the Scarlett Johansson thing. I think it's hilarious that Christopher Nolan casted David Bowie as Nikola Tesla, the electric Jesus.
Well, he actually had no other people in mind.
That is even cooler, and I love that. And I don't care that it was an underwritten character. I mean, the movie's not about Tesla and Edison, and it's really cool that they put in the middle of this professional rivalry, they put one of the most famous professional rivalries.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really cool thing. I just
I give it a 6 as well.
okay.
I'm right there. Honestly, the character writing is brilliant. Like,
Right.
it's some of the best character writing I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah. And Angier and Borden are two of the best main characters in movies that I can think of.
It's brilliant, the way that they both work too. It's that one man is motivated by fame and the need to be better than the other person.
Yep.
He'll do anything to get it, steal tricks, pay exorbitant amounts of money, and even kill himself over and over again.
Knowingly. He's the
Knowingly.
he's the one that falls into the tank.
Right. He does that. The other man is motivated by the dedication to the act, like the dedication to his own magical act. So much so that he sacrifices everything with his brother, and so much so that he
half of everything.
Yeah, well, true. But he ruins all the lives of those around him. He's just so obsessed with it. But his is a dedication to the act, and the other guy is a dedication to fame and revenge and shit.
Yeah.
Christian Bale is amazing. Like, Christian Bale, I think he's gotten better as an actor.
He plays two people in this movie, and you
so-
don't know it until the end. And if you go back and rewatch it, you can see that
the
both.
chin. It's the chin that you could tell. But they are different. They are wildly different
one of
people.
them talks with his chin tucked in.
He actually looks like Sam Rockwell. It looks like Sam Rockwell in
He
makeup.
talks with his chin tucked in a little bit more as one, and they have different personalities.
Yeah,
and he plays
it's so
two
cool.
different people.
Yeah, when he plays Fallon, he's really it's subtle and quiet and nice and sincere.
And his chin is
and
tucked
he's
in.
supposed to
No,
be
his chin is tucked in as
ingenue
the
or whatever.
The angry one is his chin is tucked.
But the best scene with Christian Bale is when he shows up at the dinner after he gets buried alive,
yeah,
and then
it's like I lost something.
But he's
almost lost something.
She's like, oh, you're putting on a show. He's like, people love it. And he does,
Yeah.
oh, does it? And he does
Yeah.
a funny face. Hugh Jackman, one of the best Hugh Jackman performances. It's right after Prisoners for me, in terms of best of his career. I think he has an amazing American narrator voice. I really wish he had a podcast. His narration is so good. Michael Caine, this is probably my favorite Michael Caine in a Christopher Nolan movie, and he's in almost all of them. But he's so good. He's really going for it in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the best of each of them, of each of their careers, and I do think it is brought down by Scarlett Johansson.
I think she's fine though. I just don't think the character's written well.
I love that the
She's
sheriff
definitely casted well because what a smoke show.
she's
was
a
in
distraction
2006.
for sure.
Yeah.
On stage. Did you notice that the sheriff of Nottingham from Men in Tights is Lord Caldwell's like
Oh my God, that is
messenger.
him. Yeah.
Mono. Yeah. Anyways,
God,
that's a
that is
6.
him.
That's a 6 for the prestige and acting for Nick and me.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the Illusionist acting. We didn't
Sure.
explain what acting is, but acting, if you've never listened to this before,
listen to our
is where we talk about the characters and the performances and how good the performances were, but also if the director and writer gave them the tools that they needed to perform at the best of their abilities. With that being said, Nick, start with acting for the Illusionist.
Okay, dude. I don't know. Like,
-5. No, I don't know.
I had such a hard time watching and rating The Illusionist.
I agree.
And I'd seen it one time before.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. I just really had a hard time with this. I didn't
Yeah.
think I would. Like, it almost wasn't fun. Like, I have fun every time we do these and rewatch these. And rewatching The
Hey,
Illusionist
man, I have fun too.
to rate it. I just love you. I just wasn't like into it. And I gave acting a 4.
Same.
I think it's fine, but those Austrian accents are
fuck
so
those. Especially
bad.
Paul Giamatti's. And Paul Giamatti is a fantastic actor. His one doesn't
Dude, they're
work for me.
so bad.
Yeah.
All of them are bad.
Yeah.
All of
I
them.
agree. I think it brings down the performances. And
The
the performances
best
are
actor is
otherwise
the guy
good.
that plays Leopold.
Oh, he's so good. Rufus Sewell hasn't been in stuff in a while, or at least he's not
Yeah,
big
dude.
anymore. He was kind of a big
What
actor
happened to
for a
that guy?
while.
He's great.
He's fantastic in it. He's great.
And
He's the
Jessica
only
Biel
one.
is almost never good in anything, and she's not good in this movie.
Yeah, she's not good. And honestly, I think Jessica Biel has gotten better as an actress. She's really good on The Sinner, in the
Yeah,
first season of The Sinner.
definitely.
But she is not good in this. And I think it's one of her first roles. Do you know
just-
that Scarlett Johansson was 22 when she was in The Prestige?
Oh, that explains.
Yeah. Her accent is horrible. Horrid. Her English
fine.
accent. I did a better Michael Caine at the beginning than she
Yeah,
did
well,
Michael
she's
Caine.
not doing Michael Caine.
I don't know. I think Jessica Biel doesn't act much because I think she's just enjoying her life with JT.
Yeah, she just had a birthday, so.
Did you notice that Aaron Taylor Johnson is the young
Yeah, Julie
Eisenhower?
pointed it out. Julie
Yeah.
watched this movie for like 8 seconds because she was like, I can't do this.
It's just like boring. Here's the thing.
And the 8 seconds were mostly pointing out that that's Aaron 3-name Johnson.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I think Edward Norton's one of my favorite actors of all time. I think he's incredible. He's so subdued in this, and I don't even enjoy watching him. Like, I didn't think he was that great. Rufus Sewell was the only great one. I thought Paul Giamatti was good.
But he's
a
always
great
good.
character
He's
actor.
pretty much
yeah,
always
He's
the
always a
same.
good character actor.
He's like always the same level of good.
Yeah. Except
for a
for
couple
like
times.
Sideways and American Splendor, he's really good. Eddie Marsan is really good. The character actor that plays the promoter for Eisenhower.
Oh.
He's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He's a great actor.
Yeah, he's good.
He did a good job. Anyways, it's a 4. It's just average.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
like no one's bad except Jessica Biel, who's like not really that bad because she
Not
doesn't have
bad
to
enough
do
to bring
much.
it down. The crowd is pretty ridiculous. Who is he?
Yeah.
Where did you come from? Tell us. Are you the princess?
They're all like,
Who killed you? Is he in the room?
yeah.
That's ridiculous. All right, so that's a 4 from Nick and me for acting. Let's move on to our next category, eye
They all make
candy.
such dramatic gasping noises.
Yeah, they're
Ow.
they're ridiculous. They're not as ridiculous as Now You Could See Me or Now You See Me. Now You Can't. Hey, Now You Could See Me.
Hey.
Doctor will see you now. Next, we're doing eye candy. Eye candy is where we talk about all the visual elements of the movie. Let's start with The Illusionist since we're on it. I gave it a 3 out of 7, slightly below average. It's not bad visually. It's pretty standard. I think the opening is kind of clever. The title sequence, how it's like an old movie. I think that works. But then when they do that for whatever filter they're using for memories to make it look like that, makes them look super fake and dumb. And then there's like this weird lighting on each of the characters in the movie as if there's like a candle in front of them.
Yeah.
And I don't like
Dude,
that.
I noticed that too. It's like you have cataracts while you're watching it.
Yeah, it's like a weird orange tint, and it's like it makes you feel old, and I don't like that. And
I don't know what
there's
that-
just too many
Like, why?
there's too many camera effects, and I'm not
it's
impressed
the same
by
guy that
any
did
of it.
Limitless, right?
Yeah, it's Neil Burger.
Yeah.
Who's fine. It's we're kind of like showing that when you go through Neil Burger's movies, he can make pretty decent thrillers or like, popular movies. This was a pretty popular movie, but they're not great in quality. I'm not super impressed. I kind of like some of the editing stuff he did in Limitless more than this one.
Right.
This had a smaller budget though, $17 million budget, which is like not that big.
Like 16 million of it went to Edward Norton.
Yeah. It's kind of weird that we've done 2 Neil Burger movies. But anyways, I gave it
know.
a 3, so it's
He only
like
has,
slightly
he only
below
has,
average.
8 movies, and these are the only 2 that I knew.
There's a few others.
I don't know.
What about you?
I totally agree. I just think it's super boring. Like,
Yeah.
straight up, it's just not it's not even close to as entertaining a movie as a Prestige.
Yeah, and my mom like insists. She rewatched both, and she's like, I like them both a lot. And she's like, I don't know if I really like The Prestige because it's confusing. And I go, don't watch movies then. Because
I wonder what
and
she
the
thought was
thing is about
confusing
confusing,
about it, though.
it comes together. Well, one of the things is she's like, well, I couldn't tell which Christian Bale's character's daughter it was or whatever. And I was like, first of all, doesn't matter because they share everything. And second of all, they when I rewatch it, they pretty clearly make it the guy who gets executed. Oh no, it's not because
No.
it's, the guy at the end is the one who loves Sarah.
It's
because it's because the one who gets executed
Says-
he was the one who would like take care of her.
he
and stuff.
says
yeah.
sorry about Sarah.
Right,
But
right.
he means like, I'm sorry that because I'm an asshole and I wanted to bang Scarlett Johansson that I got the love of your life and the mother of your daughter to kill herself.
Yeah.
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 Julie and I went back. We watched a bunch of these because I was like, oh, wait.
So I guess it's not that clear because I just
No, it is.
Well, it is now
It
that
is
we
if
talk
you-
about
but
it.
that's the thing about the Prestige. We're supposed to be talking about the Illusionist.
Eye candy. Yeah.
The thing about the Prestige is that it makes you have to it makes you want to rewatch it.
Yeah,
And when you
totally.
go back, it's clear. And not only is it clear, but it's as if you were blind the first time you watched it. It's like it is a magic trick. The Prestige
Yeah.
is a magic trick in a movie.
Yeah.
And I think it does it perfectly. That's why
Well,
it's confusing.
it's a series of magic tricks.
That feeling you have
Yeah.
at the end is the same feeling as if you watch a good magic trick, where
Right.
you're like confused, like how did I see that?
You know why? Because
Anyways,
it's Christopher Nolan. But
we're
yeah,
supposed to be talking about The Illusionist,
Yeah.
which is decidedly not like that.
Yeah.
The
but what did
twist
you,
seems predictable.
No. Wait, hold on. We're talking about eye candy.
We are?
Yes.
Oh.
Because you didn't listen to a thing I said. I knew it. Your eyes were glazed over.
Because I was trying to read, dude.
Okay. Eye candy, The Illusionist. Remember I was talking about camera effects and stuff and the
Yeah,
lighting?
It's just like misty. It's misty, and Edward
Yeah.
Norton's beard is 100%
Fake.
So stupid.
Yeah. His hairline is stupid,
Dude, it's
too.
the worst beard I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
Is he hot?
Is it? No, Edward Norton's a good-looking guy.
Is he?
Yeah. He's
Email us. Email us.
He's no Paul Giamatti.
Dude, I don't think he's an attractive person.
I think Edward Norton is definitely an attractive person. He's not super
He's
attractive.
not hot in The Illusionist.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
don't know.
Jessica Biel is markedly attractive.
Yeah. And Rufus Sewell's a good-looking dude too.
So how did I don't get it. He also is much older than Jessica
So what did you
Biel.
give it out of 7
Dude,
in
I gave
Eye
it
Candy?
a 3.
Okay, yeah, same as me. I mean, it's slightly. It's not a bad movie. It visually, it's just not a good movie. Visually.
No, I just don't. It just doesn't work with me. And the choices that they make to like
Totally.
make it misty and have Edward Norton have that stupid beard are really bad.
Well, okay. What did you give Eye Candy for The Prestige?
I gave it a 6. It's not Christopher Nolan's prettiest movie of all time, but the costuming.
Yeah, I put it a note of that too. The
It's
costuming is
amazing.
insanely good, and it wasn't nominated for costuming.
Really?
It was nominated for art direction, which I don't know what that is anymore. I think it's production design, which is amazing, and then cinematography. And it's honestly not the best cinematography I've seen of Wally Pfister or of Christopher Nolan.
It was nominated for that?
Yeah.
But not for costume.
But you know what's even crazier? It wasn't nominated for editing. It's probably one of the best edited movies ever.
That's so weird. I
Yeah.
don't know how that works, man.
Yeah.
I feel
don't
like
know.
the costuming is incredible, and not just because of Scarlett Johansson's costume.
I think it wasn't that big of a movie at the time. And it became a bigger movie over time. What'd you say about ScarJo?
No, it's just I said it was awesome, and not just because of her costumes.
Yum.
Borden and Fallon. Is that Christian Bale playing Fallon?
Yeah, which is crazy. It does
Doesn't
look like
anything like him.
So some people. I know Crystal, my sister-in-law, her like best friend, told her that she like hated The Prestige because she knew in the first time she saw Borden, or she didn't hate it, she just wasn't that impressed because the first time she saw Fallon, she noticed because she loves Christian Bale so much, she recognized his chin. And she was like, that's him. And you could see it if you look, but they don't show you enough of him early on. You have to really look closely.
That's crazy that in the first scene she could pick that out.
Yeah, well, because she's a huge Christian Bale fan.
I don't think they're different. And like one of the cool things, and I'm just going to lump it into eye candy because I just want to like harp on this more, is that if you rewatch this movie and you're as obsessed with it as I am, you can see Christian Bale make different character choices in different scenes and pick out which one, when he's playing like
his brother,
he's playing like ambitious Borden, or he's playing like I don't know what to call him, like he's not soft spoken, but he's like more reserved Borden.
Yeah. Well, one of them is the one who's more reserved. Actually, I can't tell which one it is. I think the one that's ambitious is the one who does more of the engineering.
Yeah.
And I think the other one is the showman one, who we get at the beginning of the movie. I think the very beginning of the movie
and that version of Borden, he tucks his chin in more as he talks, which I'm just going to lump in with eye candy because it's obviously a choice he made.
Yeah.
And it's really cool.
Visually, it works, yeah.
It's incredible.
I mean, that's good direction by Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Or at least it's a choice by Christian Bale. Yeah, I mean, okay, so Wally Pfister was nominated for it, and I think that, obviously he did way better cinematography for Inception and the Dark Knight trilogy, because it's the same cinematographer.
Yeah.
I think what they liked about this is that it's
old.
What?
He's extremely old.
Is he? Wally Pfister? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, and he had a $40 million budget here, and it looks beautiful. Like, the way that everyone looks, it's very crisp and clear, and I think it's really subtle, and I think it was period accurate, and I think that's why he got it.
It was accurate, period.
And still, dude, the editing is unbelievable. The opening scene is so cool when Michael Caine is giving the speech and it's going back and forth. So I looked it up, and I guess it has this, like, it broke some record, I think, about like editing cuts for jumping back and forth in time. But it does it as opposed to Bohemian Rhapsody that has too many editing cuts. Every single cut has a purpose in this, and it's smooth. It's done.
Yeah.
It's done well to go back and forth in time, and it's incredible the way that they weave the story in that way. And I think that a lot of that goes to the visuals, and costuming, makeup, and production design are all great. So I give it a 6 as well. It's not the best, but it is it is well above average. Okay, let's move on to our next category, most fun one, spectacularity.
The one that I started talking about on accident?
Yeah, well, you'll get to talk about it again. Spectacularity is where we talk about the engagement level of the movie and whether you were really interested in it and motivated by it, or you were distracted and playing on your phone or looking at your notes while Gabe was talking. So, Nick, since you were already talking about it, you were talking about The Illusionist. Yeah, okay. Well, let's start with The Illusionist.
I would be curious here to know, like, what, like, your mom or like anyone that really likes The Illusionist.
I think she really
thought about it,
likes it,
because apparently, let me look at my statistics.
Well, the thing is, they're not the same movie. One is like one is a mystery thriller, and one is a mystery romance. Like, a period piece mystery romance.
83% of the audience, 417,170 people on Rotten Tomatoes. And 83% of them really liked this movie.
Yeah, it's really weird.
I don't think it's bad, but that seems like a lot.
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about that, and I'll bring that up again in Legacy.
Boring.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it's a pretty straight up boring movie. However, there are a couple like really good scenes, like Leopold's suicide scene is legitimately a very good scene.
I thought that was good, and the one when he's yelling at her. When he has the big fight with her.
He's just like the best. He gives the best performance in the movie because he's just such a raging dick.
Yeah, he is a piece of shit. He's not as big of a piece of shit as Hugh Jackman's character, though.
Well,
Because Leopold is a prince.
We're
like he
told-
wants these things.
Yeah,
well,
that's
he
true.
does horrible things.
We're told that he
Hugh
does horrible
Jackman
things. We actually
is
don't see him
like
do too much.
an awful human being who is who's so greedy and obsessed with fame.
Yeah. Is the twist in
The Illusionist?
The Illusionist surprising?
No. And honestly, I remember watching this movie. I didn't remember the plot, but I knew watching it how obvious the twist would have been that she was alive.
Yeah.
There was no chance that she wasn't alive. And I don't even know if that was supposed to be like a crazy twist. But I was looking up, I was like, oh, movies like The Prestige for the recommendations at the end. And one was The Illusionist for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But they were talking about it in terms of like, ooh, it has a crazy twist at the end.
They both have this like third act crazy twist. So where did I put it? Dude, there's a review for The Prestige.
Wait,
that I
we're
wanna
talking
read
about The
when we
Illusion.
talk about
okay.
that one.
Yeah.
But
Man, you are all over the place.
But the reason that the reason I wanted to talk about it is because I think that The Illusionist is, like you said, The Prestige might be confusing. I think The Illusionist is too simple.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's a lot.
It's like it waters it down to be so.
I don't think there's a lot in place.
I don't think so either, and it just falls flat in the end. Where you're like, oh, there's the whole lot, ha ha ha, yay.
Yeah, I mean,
And like you just don't care about where it's going because like the mystery of it isn't there.
oh, I didn't find it boring though. I mean, it's not exciting. That's the problem. It's not like engaging.
What was your rating?
I gave it a 4. I thought it
gave
was
it a
average.
3.
Okay, so the thing is, like, the dialogue writing is good. It's a really good dialogue, actually. I like all the scenes between Edward Norton and Paul Giamatti, and Rufus Sewell. I thought the romance was realistic and kind of interesting to a certain degree, and that's more of what the motivation in the movie is. What bothers me about it is that it's not dark. Like,
No.
it's a dark story, but it's not done in a dark way. And I prefer movies that are a little bit more cynical.
Yeah, it's very like fanciful and it's like a happily ever after.
Yeah, it's
kind of thing.
optimistic in certain ways. I mean,
The darkest part is that Leopold just kills himself because he's such a drunkard
right.
that he.
it's not even just that he's a drunkard. He's just so fucking tired of how dumb everyone is.
Yeah.
He's like, magic isn't real. You are all idiots.
Does he kind of does he believe that he might have killed her?
No, he's like, no,
Yeah.
he's just so sick of arguing it, and he knows he's going to go to jail for it.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's kind of like, I really like the politics of it, but it wasn't the movie I wanted to watch. But I thought that they got the Austria-Hungarian politics right. And I thought they did that
As
well.
the foremost expert.
I also just love the scenes that I was really engaged are the scenes when the crowd is just losing their shit at the first ghost, the ghost named like Franco or whatever. They're like,
Not the
what's
little-
your name? And he's like, I'm Franco.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Also,
Or when
decent
the
Philip Glass
little
score.
ghost kid walks in and Paul Giamatti just goes
Oh
to
yeah,
like,
that was weird.
to like touch him.
Oh yeah.
And I was thinking like, dude, what if he wasn't a ghost? Like you just
You just touched this
shoved over a child.
dude. He's the police constable,
He just like pushes him.
chief inspector.
Just like he like slaps at him.
Oh, I gotta say, in Spectacularity, the final scene with Paul Giamatti figuring it out in the train station is the dumbest scene. Dude, it is unbelievably dumb.
He just laughs like that.
Yeah,
for
he just
way too long.
laughed and it's like cutting, and then you see them, and it's this happily ever after. You know, I'm gonna give it a 3.
Dude, that scene. I'm glad you brought that up because I was like, is this scene supposed to be
my phone
funny?
not piss me off right now?
It seems really out of character for him
What's
too.
happening?
What's happening?
No. Okay, it's fixed.
We have to cut that out.
Yeah, I gave it no, I'm not going to. I gave it a 3. Nick gave it a 3. Let's talk about Spectacularity with The Prestige.
All right, I gave it a. Did I give it a 7? I think.
I mean, you
gave it a
have,
6.
dude. It's a set. All right, let me talk then. It's a 7.
Oh, I gave it a 7.
It's a 7. It's the ultimate professional rivalry movie, and as the Tesla thing is really cool. There's a lot of like moving parts that are awesome, and it keeps you on your toes the entire time, and it's it's so well balanced and layered in story. This is
Can we talk about how the dove trick is a metaphor for the transported man at the end?
Yeah, at the very end, he
And how I
says.
forgot about that.
At the very beginning, he says the second or the first part is called the pledge. The magician shows you something ordinary, and he says a deck of cards, a bird, or a man.
Yeah.
They tell you, they give you these clues, which I love, and it's so cool to rewatch. We'll talk about it in True Detective, but I mean, it's just this is the moment when I was like, Jonathan Nolan, Christopher Nolan's brother, is one of the most brilliant movie writers. And honestly, he's a great TV writer because of Westworld. We'll see what happens with the third season of Westworld and if it's better than the second. But he does an incredible job sprawling the story. And I think that it is fascinating from start to finish. There's literally never a dull moment in it. It's really
I don't think
eerie.
there is.
I mean, are you watching closely? Saying that at the beginning will make you watch closely. And you're like, even if you've already seen it a bunch of times, it's so well done in terms of how the tension is built. The score, the like sound design, like the opening when they first show Cutter holding the axe, waiting just in case the girl will drown, and he's watching the clock, and you're like, they cut out the sound, or they cut out the score, and they just focus on the sound of that clock, and you could see the tension in his face. It's brilliant, and every moment is like that. I don't know why I sound so angry when I'm happy about something.
I feel like you're gonna like beat me up because this is my second favorite movie of all time, and I totally agree that it is. The first time I watched this, I was glued to my seat, and I've never left a movie and been like, I need to rewatch that movie.
At the bottom of, I have the DVD right here. At the bottom, it has Peter Travers from the Rolling Stones. It has his review. It says, you want to see it again the second it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
And then if
Peter.
you rewatch, dude, it's a magic trick. I know I said this before, completely out of the blue in the wrong category, but the movie is a magic trick.
Take something away and it
The
brings it back
prestige of the prestige is one of a kind.
Yeah.
And the build to it is totally breathtaking.
You know what I realized about Christopher Nolan?
The turn is the movie is obvious the whole time.
Yeah. Well,
If you know it and you watch it, you're like, oh, dude, like, of course there's two Bordens.
right.
But
it's so well done. It doesn't matter if you know.
They show you Angier drowning.
Yeah.
At
the beginning.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wrote down this
The Prestige slaps, dude. It slaps.
It slaps hard, dude. The thing I wrote at the end is I think that Christopher Nolan, because he is the king of this, I think Christopher Nolan starts at the end and then makes his movies because he always slaps you in the face with the feels. Like the final moment, he just blares the score. It's cutting back and forth in time, and it focuses on the character that you're supposed to care about, and you are just filled with emotions. Like Inception, Interstellar, this, every single movie, the very end, he makes it. It's like an addictive product at the bottom of something.
As
like
you just find out,
you know you're gonna have to
Angier
rewatch
has
it.
Killed himself close to 100 times.
But then it's that he gets to see his daughter and walks away, and you're like, dude, Christopher Nolan, you get it, man. All right, that's a 7 from both
Let's
of us.
move into True Detective because it's basically the same.
It is. So True Detective, we're just talking about like whether we were playing little detectives while we were watching it.
Yeah.
Were we searching for the clues? Were we interested in the twists and turns? Did it leave us satisfied at the end?
And again, the Prestige has to get a 7 for me.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you just like I don't ever have that feeling where I need to rewatch a movie the second after I see it. The Prestige is one, and like Parasite is another one, and I can't think of any more than like maybe
Get Out.
Yeah,
Dude, I left Get Out and I was like, wow. Actually, I didn't leave Get Out saying that I needed to rewatch it. I left Get Out being like, damn, I'm satisfied. I don't have a problem.
Yeah, I wanted to rewatch Parasite the first time I saw it.
Yeah, and same with I get it
And
with the
same with the
Prestige because you want to search for the clues.
And because then you just keep seeing all of the clues right after. The movie is a trick. It's disturbing the first time you see it too. Angier copies his exact being every night, and he knows he's the one that's going to die.
Oh, the very final scene is the shot of all of the bodies.
Right. and he knows he's going to be the one that drops into that tank when he steps in. And then
Not necessarily. You never know because he is both people. You don't know if you're going to be the one that gets duplicated up there. Or
Okay,
you're the
so
one who
I
dies.
read a little bit
and
about
he says
the
that.
book.
Dude, the book. Oh, I wanted to talk about this. The book is bad. This is one of the
is?
only.
Okay.
Nick,
didn't know
it
that.
is bad. The ending of the book is not like this. It's really stupid, and this is why I love Jonathan Nolan, because what he did with this is incredible. Because it's very different. I'm telling you,
the ending
it
of
sucks.
it is really bizarre.
Yeah, I don't like the end of the
Like
book.
basically, what happens is
No, don't tell. Well, people
No?
can read it.
Okay.
I mean, actually, don't. Just say it, because the book
No,
sucks.
I mean, you've read it, right?
Yeah.
So doesn't one Borden become like a waif?
Yeah.
Angier.
Yeah.
And then the other one becomes like a half invisible Angier that needs
Yeah,
to
and he's like
focus to
kind of
become
he's
real.
kind of like fading.
He's like Marty McFly.
And he walks away. It's not the same end. It's not the same last third, and it's
Yeah.
not good. And it's one of the rare cases where the book is worse than the movie. And I respect the hell out of
Interesting.
Jonathan and Christopher for it.
I wanted to know what the heck was going to happen the whole time I watched this movie, especially the first time through, and I never get bored of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched
it's a
it a
seven.
lot. I've watched it a lot. I think it's one of the movies that I love showing people that had never seen it before. It's one that I get excited about. It's like Fight Club for me, that I know, even if you know the end, you're searching for clues the whole time, and there are so many clues laid out.
Yeah. Like a
One thing
ridiculous
I
amount.
just realized this time is great. Okay, so the big one that people know is that there's the foreshadowing with Rebecca Hall's like nephew in it, where he's crying and he goes, "What about his brother?"
Yeah.
When it dies. So yeah, you know that's the foreshadowing that it's going to be the brother,
Right.
the Bolden brother. But what's crazier is that right after Bolden says, right after in the next scene, Bolden says to the bird that survives, he says, "You're the lucky one today." So that's representing Angier's. And then Sarah later figures out that it's his brother or someone else, and she kills herself. But because of what that kid said.
Yeah.
Because the nephew, him saying, like, crying and saying, "What about his brother?" was probably swimming through her head. And it drives her insane, and she kills herself.
And she says,
I just noticed that.
Rebecca Hall accidentally says the line, "I know what you are."
Yeah.
And
Oh, was that she wasn't supposed to?
she wasn't supposed to say that. She ad-libbed it. That scene's
that's pretty cool.
incredible.
Yeah, it's
too.
really good.
Rebecca Hall is so good in this.
Yeah, she really is.
She accidentally says, "I know what you are," and then she thought immediately after that she had like ruined the movie. They couldn't possibly keep that take, and Christopher Nolan was like, "No, it was great."
No, it works. It doesn't.
Keeping it.
I mean, we know as the audience now, but with the first time, you're like, "What? What is happening? What is she talking
You think
about?"
he's like mentally ill?
But
or
how
something.
brilliant is that foreshadow? It's a simple scene.
Yeah.
It foreshadows the entire plot of the movie, and that's great. I love. Yeah, I mean, we don't need to talk about. One really cool thing is that when they hit you, the end of the movie hits you with this whole concept about self-sacrifice, and you have to sit there and think in your head, what was the worst sacrifice? You know, killing yourself every single day to do this, like in the pursuit of this fame or whatever.
Yeah, I
into
love that
this
he
plot.
says. I love that he does the limited run too, and he's like 100 times.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you're gonna kill yourself 100 times," and that was like, you're like,
And then you're done.
arbitrarily,
Oh, sorry.
we're like, "Oh, 100's good."
Yep. I mean, it's also so I put this thing because they're all about, like, especially Borden. It's all about being like so dedicated to the craft because they're talking about that Chinese magician at the beginning who every single day acts like this. And so there's the story of this guy named Chung Ling Soo. Did you read about this? So the guy that the Chinese guy is based off of is Chung Ling Soo, who was a British guy who put on makeup every day and made himself he presented himself as Chinese the entire time he was a magician until a bullet catch trick went wrong and he gets shot and he goes, "Oh, you shot me," or something.
He says, "Oh goodness, I've been shot."
Oh goodness, I've been
something like
shot, and
that.
it's the first time it's the first time he ever spoke English as that magician, which is just amazing.
Insane.
Also, the whole like plot with Borden and how dedicated he is really reminds me of the plot of Black Swan, and I love that.
Yeah.
It's that the only way to achieve greatness in this profession is perfection, and that's so sad. But it's great. All right,
We can end there.
Oh wait, yeah. So then True Detective. So we gave that a 7 for the Prestige.
Yeah.
True Detective for the Illusionist. I mean,
I gave it a 4.
yeah. No, I gave it a 3.
Okay, so I think it's sort of a simple premise, whereas the Prestige is apparently to some people too convoluted. Although I think at the end it's pretty basic, like what happens, even though it's essentially just like weird science fiction at the end, which is awesome. But anyways, The Illusionist is not that. It's just like, it's not the same thing. Finding out you've been making clones and then drowning them is way cooler than finding out that you and your girlfriend faked your girlfriend's death and then faked an overdramatic seance.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Like,
There's
it's just not, you just can't compare those.
So I just, yeah,
And
I
like,
mean,
even the having a twin the whole movie and the other guy killing himself every night in a tank is a lot better than like running away with your girlfriend and living happily ever after, but not telling anybody.
well, I think actually the discussion we had earlier is the best way to talk about this, because it's like, you know what's going to happen, even if you haven't seen the movie, and it's too obvious. And I don't think it's almost unfair to compare this to The Prestige in that way, because The Prestige is made to be that way. It's more of a mystery thriller,
right?
Whereas this is more of like a mystery romance / like political period piece. It's definitely interesting in terms of the mystery. I think like it's an interesting plot line. And you know, they do leave out some clues. They're just obvious clues.
It's just not, like Julie said, The Illusionist is too mystical.
Oh yeah.
And like, it's not about magic.
Yeah.
It's about, he's not like a magician. He makes
He's an illusionist.
illusions.
Yeah.
And it's not like,
Dude, oh, speaking of which, that guy in The Prestige, he's like, I'm sorry, it's been a long time since I've seen real magic. The last time, and they cut him off. I'm like, dude, what did this guy see?
Yeah.
He knows that magic exists. Also, it's really funny when Hugh Jackman's on stage and he's like, what you're about to see is not magic. It's science. Bitch, it's magic. You duplicated yourself. Ain't no science doing that, Tesla. Oh, you know what I was going to talk about? And I think you're right about, like, one has the impactful, like, disturbing darkness to it, and one doesn't. The other thing is, both of these movies have a plot exposition dump at the end in visual form.
yeah.
One of them shows you a bunch of stuff that you couldn't have possibly seen because it wasn't really there, or it wasn't that interesting. It's just lay out the
other
entire
one just
plot.
shows you stuff you did see, and you're like,
the Prestige
oh,
is like,
duh.
yeah. The only thing that they show you are some things behind the scenes that were happening with Christian Bale and his brother. And then you see with Angier's like killing him.
Yeah, but then
himself.
all of the scenes where you're like, what is wrong with Alfred Borden?
Yeah.
Like, why is he like this?
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh, that's why he's like this. He's not one guy. He's two guys.
Right.
Like when she's like, oh, why
that's
hasn't it healed?
that's
why
it.
hasn't it healed
You're
yet,
right.
Freddie?
The
Why
visual
isn't it
things
healed?
help you understand the plot of the movie, and I love that. Whereas the other one, the visual things just tell you the movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's I gave it a 3. Nick gave it a 4 for True Detective. Let's go to our last category, Legacy.
Okay.
Legacy, we talk about whether this movie will be talked about, has it been talked about, where does it stand in the history of movies or in the genre. So let's start with The Illusionist since we're on it.
Does it have a legacy?
I mean, yeah, I give it a 3 out of 7. I wanted to give it higher because when it came, so they both came out in 2006. But the thing is, The Prestige is the only one that's still really talked about. But for a while, a lot of people like The Illusionist. I mean,
Apparently they still do. 83% of
It made $87.8 million, which is great. Around the time it came out, it has a 78% from critics. It has 83% from audience. Its Metacritic is like 68.
I thought it was 75 from critics on Rotten Tomato.
78 or 75.
I got 74 actually.
Okay, it doesn't matter. It's in the 70s, which is good.
Yeah, that's just important to note because The Prestige has a 75. Or
Yeah,
like a
and
76. It's only 1 or 2 points higher.
Right. Here's the thing. Many people recognize this movie. A lot of people probably saw it, even if they forgot it. But here's why the legacy gets hurt. This is the exact type of movie that you see in a bin at 7-Eleven. Like the
Illusionist?
dollar. Yeah, you buy. It's one of the ones that when you used to go to video stores, like rent, or you know when Blockbuster used to sell DVDs.
Yeah.
Because it was always the DVDs that they had way too many of. Or if you go to a used CD DVD store, there's always one movie they have too many of. It's always The Illusionist. And another thing is this movie is free on Tubi, Vudu, and Sling TV. 3 places where you could buy stuff, but a lot of crappy movies are, or no, a lot of average but like forgotten movies are free on those, and that hurts its legacy. So despite its nice reception, I'm giving it a 3.
I was gonna give it a 2 until I saw that like people apparently really like it, and it is more or less critically like well received. So I gave it a 4.
Okay.
Because like I have a hard time giving something that 83% of 470,000.
That's why I said it's slightly below
raters
average in terms of its legacy since then.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like people,
because I'm talking more about the history of the movie. Like it's been 6 ways and it's been what, like 14 years since it came out.
Yeah.
And no, it's like a forgotten movie. I mean, it's instantly forgettable. But anyways, that's a 4 from Nick, a 3 from me.
I don't know what else there's to say about it. I was just genuinely surprised.
Well, fine. Let's finish it off, dude. Let's talk about the Prestige. What did you give it for legacy?
I gave it a 5.
Okay.
I almost gave it less, but I couldn't give it the same score as The Illusionist because I do feel like it has more of a legacy. But here's the thing: it is Prestige. The Prestige is Christopher Nolan's second lowest rated movie.
Which is fine. Well, for a while it was his lowest. His lowest is Interstellar.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because it's still in the 70s. That's how.
Yeah.
The thing about
like 71 or
Christopher
2 or
Nolan
something.
is he's so good at getting the critics to at least like his movies. None of his movies are hated by critics. But he also gets audience members to love it.
Yeah.
And he's that rare breed that can do both.
Yeah, yeah. I just like, it's not, I love it. Personally, I would like to have given it a higher. For me, the legacy is a 7. But like, I just don't know if it should have like a higher rating than a 5. I do want to read that one rating that I thought was like this user rating. It says, "The Prestige does not impress as a magic act. It is an elaborate contraption that leaves the viewer confounded and confused, but never feeling particularly entertained or delighted by the performance."
Signed, Michelle, Mickey Willow, Indiana.
But there are people who it just doesn't vibe with them. Apparently, very few, only 8% of the audience disliked the movie.
Yeah.
On Rotten Tomatoes, 92% liked it, but I don't know if it's like.
I'm splitting the difference because I'm where you're at. I objectively I think it's a 5. Subjectively, I think it's a 7. The thing is, like, it turned Christopher Nolan into a household name. He had Batman Begins, which was really popular, and Memento, which wasn't that popular when it came out. But this was the movie that really turned him into a big deal, where people were like, I gotta watch his movies. And it was almost made by Sam Mendes after he did American Beauty. And I think that movie still would have been really good. Yeah. I think Christopher Nolan did a better job than I could imagine Sam Mendes doing it. But I thought it would have been good. And I think this was huge for Christopher Nolan. It also shot Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman like way up. Because they both were popular actors before it, but no one had really seen a lot from them. And if you go back to 2006, that was before we talked about Christian Bale as this like all-time great actor.
That's true.
Because he wasn't really, he did The Machinist and Batman Begins, but he wasn't really like fluctuating his weight as much. He wasn't like really leaning into the characters. And he's playing like, he has this real accent in it, but it's still great acting. It made people take Hugh Jackman a lot more seriously.
Yeah.
The good reviews.
Is amazing in this movie.
It has an 8.5 on IMDb, which is very high user rating. It's a very popular movie. It's kind of a cult favorite. It made more money than The Illusionist. It made 109.5 million in the box office, which is still kind of bizarre to me. It deserves a lot more. And it was nominated for 2 Oscars. So I think it's just really well appreciated by people. Like, people were very excited when we were going to do this. And I had Aaron Lapping send me a message. He's like, you better not mess this up. This is my favorite movie of all time.
The Prestige?
And I know a lot of people that would say, like, if I mentioned The Prestige to any of my friends, they'd be like, oh man, such a good movie. It's just
True.
It's really well loved.
Well loved.
Yeah. It's beloved.
There you go.
Dearly beloved. Okay, so let's add it up, big boy.
I just think that this line is an interesting remark on the legacy of the movie. The secret impresses no one. The trick you use it for is everything.
Yeah, isn't that Christian Bale says that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He has so many good lines in it. It's a really well-written movie. So what was your total for The Prestige?
Okay, my total for The Prestige is 31.
Nice. I gave it a 32.
Okay.
So
Interesting. I like it
what
more
is
than
that?
you, I feel like. And
Yeah, but it was tough because I thought it was going to be lower based on the way that we break things down. But I have to give it, I mean, it's like almost a perfect movie.
Almost.
So it's almost. So I gave it 32. You gave it a 31. So that's
Yeah.
what, 63 out
Yep.
of 75? Is it out of 70? No, it's out of 70. Yeah. That's great. Good for you,
63
The
out of
Prestige.
70.
The Illusionist, I gave a 16
oh, really? I gave it an 18.
out of 35. Well, that's so funny how that works out.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. You can add it up. 30,
That is
30,
34?
34. 34 out of 70.
Yeah.
So, it's like
Don't
50%.
you guys just love the part of the podcast where we just
add-
do math in our head like
Well, okay,
freaking champions?
people do
dude?
love this section. Let's get into our accolades, yo. We're going to give out
Okay.
awards to these movies. Start with MVP. Who's your MVP of these 2 movies?
Oh, okay. So it doesn't come from The Illusionist. It can't. This is where my thought process was. It's not Robert Angier.
It's not Franco, the ghost?
I'm Franco. It's not, dude. It's not Angier because he's awful. It can't be Borden.
Oh, you're going by character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always do that. I
Yeah, you
never
kind of
go-
do. That's interesting.
I'm never like. It's
I never
Christopher
noticed that
Nolan.
till now.
Is
Yeah.
yours Christopher Nolan?
It's the Nolan brothers.
Oh,
Dude, that's the best duo in Hollywood.
that's true.
Name a better duo.
In Hollywood?
I deodor you. Yeah, I did. It's not gonna
Oh,
work.
nailed that one. I gave the MVP to Nikola Tesla.
The electric
Because
Jesus.
he invents the most insane machine of all time, and he fully knows that no one should use it, but he just takes that guap, baby.
Yeah.
You get paid, you got a job to do,
Get stacked.
you do the job, and you get that paper. And that's
Yeah.
what he did.
Straight up. All right. Do you have an LVP?
Austrian accents.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna say ScarJo's accents, Austrian accents, Thomas Edison's bitch ass.
Austrian accents.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite scene?
Oh my God. The final scene in The
Yeah.
Prestige.
It's like the best, and they're just slamming each other with like, I sacrificed more. He's like, no, I did, and like, I'm talking
He's
about.
like, you don't even know.
You don't even know. Do you have a worse scene?
Oh man.
All the Aaron Taylor Johnson
He's not-
memory
yeah,
scenes.
I
He's not
just-
bad in it. They're just horrible scenes.
No, and they're like all like the movie itself is like dusty and like you're looking through cataracts, and then those scenes are like double that because they're in the
yeah.
past of the past, and you're like, oh my God.
Okay, quickly, off the top of your head, what would be the order of your Christopher Nolan movies? There's only 10.
There's
And you've
only
probably
10?
seen all of them but Following, which you
Oh
could
my
put at
God.
10
You
because
want
it's
me
not
to
good.
rank 10 things off the top?
Just do it
of my
really
head?
quick. Nine things.
9, dude. Okay. Dark Knight Rises.
Is that your
9.
number one?
It's
Oh,
number 9.
Okay.
Why would I not? Why would I not? Okay.
Hey, oh, you haven't seen Insomnia,
No, I haven't.
so that's your 9.
Okay. So 8 is Dark Knight Rises.
Sick.
7 is. Dude, I need to like see these. I don't have the type of weird memory.
All
you
right,
do.
1, The Prestige. 2, Inception. 3, Dark Knight. But honestly, I would actually tie them at number 2.
This is
'cause
your
I love them both.
order?
Yeah.
You put The Prestige above Inception? I did not think you would have done that.
It's
All
my
right.
11th favorite movie. Inception's like my 14th,
Interesting.
and Dark Knight is like my 15th.
Okay.
And then I go.
You put Batman Begins lower than Dark Knight Rises?
So I like Batman Begins a lot, but the Dark Knight Rises has more of the feeling that I like from the Nolan movies. Like, I think Batman Begins is a better movie, but I like watching Dark Knight Rises more because it has the Dark Knight feel to it.
Got it. Interesting. Okay, so
I fully agree that Batman Begins is a
I'm going to
better
go Dark
movie.
Knight Rises because I've only seen 8 of 10. Dark Knight Rises 8, Batman Begins 7, Interstellar 6, Memento 5, Dunkirk 4, Inception 3, Dark Knight 2, Prestige 1.
Yeah, I flipped Memento and Dunkirk. I love Dunkirk. I think it's a brilliant movie. It's just that Memento is one of those movies that really impacted me for a while.
Yeah.
And I've watched it so many times.
Thanks for springing that one on me.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
I mean, most of the time I act like things have been sprung on me when I know that they're coming. This time it was actually sprung on me.
When I see a pretty little thing with the itty bitty waist, you get sprung.
A round thing.
Anyways, do you have any recommendations for what people should watch that kind of like either of these movies? Now You See Me.
No, you don't. As long as you're watching closely, I don't care what you watch.
Interesting. I recommend that people go and see The Machinist if you haven't. Amazing Christian Bale role. If you don't like watching Danny's someone who really hates this, but like if you don't like watching someone who's like dangerously skinny in it, I don't suggest you watch it. But it's an incredible movie about insomnia. Have you seen it?
I actually haven't.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm actually not.
Oh, well, I had to make sure. You should see The Machinist. It's a great movie. You would love it. That has crazy twist.
All right,
and then
you recommended a Christian Bale movie?
yeah, if I'm gonna recommend Christian Bale, then I also would recommend Hugh Jackman, Prisoners.
That's what I was gonna say.
It's one of my favorite movies.
That
I
movie's
love that
so
movie.
good, dude.
Yeah, Denis Villeneuve just kills it. Next week's episode, we are gonna do.
Just decided.
Yeah, we're going to do, Mom, I'm sorry, you're probably not going to watch this one. You can still listen to us. We're going to do Midsommar versus The Wicker Man. And we're doing the OG Wicker Man, the 1976 one.
Because you can find it on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, and Midsommar is on Amazon. So
we're gonna-
go get that.
yeah, we're gonna do them now where you can
Especially if
watch
you're
them.
thinking about breaking up with your boyfriend.
or visiting cult.
Yeah. Plugging right now, you guys should follow us on Instagram. If you listen to this podcast and you have an Instagram and you don't follow us, go and do that, dude. We're trying to blow up Instagram, okay? Instagram.com/facingoffpod. Just look up Facing Off Podcast. You could also follow us on Twitter. The only people that follow us on Twitter are other podcasts.
Yep.
So if you are not a podcast, you are a person, and you want to follow us on Twitter, you should. We are
Just make a Twitter.
twitter.com/
Everyone should make a Twitter.
Facing Off Pod. Yeah. It's really
This
important.
episode's been brought to you by Twitter.
Yeah, this episode's been brought to you by Workday and Twitter. And also, you could send us emails. We would love to read your emails. We've gotten great emails, but most of them are from my mom. And as much as I love you, Mom, I would rather the rest of you guys send us emails breaking down what you liked and didn't like about our episode. You can talk shit about me. It's okay. Facingoffpodcast@gmail.com. Nick, do you have a send-off? You were all fools, and I can't stand it. I won't stand it.
Cool gun sound.